there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, what's up? This is Jason Bittner from Overkill, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Jason Bittner, current drummer of the mighty Overkill and Shadows Fall, when there is a band with Shadows Fall, when they can get together and work something out. Former drummer of Suspended Animation, Toxic, Anthrax, Burning Human, Stigmata, and Flotsam and Jetsam. So we're going to be talking to Jason.
You can mention Suspended Animation because I don't think that there's anybody outside of the Albany, New York area where I live are going to know who the hell that is. That was my first band out of Berkeley, and when I was 18 years old, I formed up here.
Hey, you do your research, man. That's what I tell everybody, do your research. Let's jump right in this, good sir. How have you been doing, and what have you been up to during this pandemic that we're going through?
Anybody that follows me on Facebook or any social media knows exactly what I've been up to. Sitting in my studio drumming for everybody. And drumming with anybody I can to keep myself out of the madness of this damn COVID crap. Going insane sitting at home.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully this shit will be over with soon and we can get back to do what we do best and move forward.
I personally don't see that happening anytime too soon because there's too many idiots who walk around without a mask and think that they're more important than anybody else. And the more that stuff happens, the longer we're going to be sitting here in lockdown.
Are you working on anything new at this point for Overkill or anything for Shadows Fall possibly, or any of your projects at this time maybe?
Yeah, we're actually hard at work on the new Overkill album right now. Technically, we were supposed to already be done with it by now if the world hadn't changed back in March. But now, due to the fact that we're not pushing for a release that quickly, it's given us a little bit of time to hone the songs a little better and spend some more time and whatnot. So I'm at about the song 7 mark right now out of 11 demos that we have. So we've got about 7 of them wrapped up so far. Going to be working a little bit more on a couple more new ones later this weekend and next week. And I think right now, the last time I talked to Dee, our idea, I think, is to try to start getting drums done like September-ish, depending on, what happens.
Yeah.
The problem is that we really can't do our regular pre-production right now because we all don't live in the same state. I mean, it's easy for me to get to New Jersey because I'm only 3 hours away, and Blitz is 2 hours away from where Dee and Derek are, but Dave lives in Florida. So the problem is even if he comes up for pre-production, we can't even do any of that for 2 weeks because he'd have to quarantine first.
Oh, geez, that is right. Yeah, coming from Florida, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's just right now we really don't know. The way we normally do records is we work on everything ourselves, and then we take a week where we go down to New Jersey and everybody gets together, and when we we'll work on like 2 songs a day and just bust it out for 5 or 6 days and then get everything together. But like I said, this one may be a little bit more of us getting it together from our homes and doing a lot more online discussion and stuff about things rather than us actually playing it, so we'll see.
So these 11 tracks that you're working on right now, though, are these the ones that's going on the album, or could you see a sleeper come in possibly?
Not from right now, my guess would be that what we have right now is what's going to be on the record. We're not a band, and Shadows Fall is the same way. We're generally not a band that writes extra songs. It's kind of like we write what you need for the album, and then there's plus, you write another one because Japan always needs an extra B-side, and that's pretty much it, We don't do that Metallica thing of let's write 30 songs and pick 10 of the best ones. I think it's definitely a better idea to just concentrate on doing 10 great songs rather than having, 6 throwaways or whatever.
So I want to talk about the current Overkill album that's out right now, the 19th album entitled The Wings of War. What's impressed you or excited you the most about making that album, if anything, possibly, Jason? Is there anything about that current album that sticks out for you, possibly?
Not really. Aside from it was a pretty smooth session for me, my first time making a record with this band. I mean, you know, I've been making records for 25 years, but every time you make a record with a different band or a different artist, it's always a learning curve. You never know, you know, the way you work with certain band might not work with another band, you know, with a way that another band works. For example, with Shadows Fall, you know, I'm known for going in and doing anywhere from 5 to 7 songs in one day, because usually we're just pressed for time and, you know, the drums are always first, so let's get the drums done. And I'm used to doing a lot of songs very quickly. I'm used to usually finishing my drum tracks within 2 or 3 days for a record. With Overkill, it's very different than that. The way we tracked this one was we did no more than 3 songs in one day, regardless of how good I was feeling. If I was, you know, just slamming, I'm like, come on, let's do another song. They're like, nope, shut it down. Let's just work with what we got. So instead of just, you know, recording everything and then taking 2 days to sit there editing, what we would do is we would just record 3 songs in the morning, and then we'd edit the 3 songs in the afternoon, and then we'd be done, and then we'd move on to the next 3 the next day. So I'm sure that's exactly probably what we'll do this time.
Any tracks currently on the current album that are standing out more to you, possibly? Do you have any favorite tracks off of that you like to play personally?
Yeah, Batshit Crazy is a great song. Believe in the Fight and the title track, Last Man Standing. Those are 3 of my favorites.
These new songs, whether it's with Overkill or Shadows Fall or any project, does it still challenge you or push you, Jason, to come up with something new and stay fresh with your drumming, or come up with any new techniques possibly?
Yes, it does. Every single record, there's something new, or there's the pressure to have something new. You know, I'm not at a point, even though I've been doing this for a long time, I'm not at a point where I feel like I just sit there and rest on my laurels. You know, it's like, oh, I've done this, I'll just do this and blah, blah, blah. No, every record is different. Every record's a challenge. You know, when you're playing this kind of music, high-tempo thrash stuff is still challenging to play, you know? So I just approach everyone the same way, regardless of what band I'm playing, and regardless of what I'm doing. I just try to do the best possible job I can for the project and play for the song first and foremost.
But has there been a project that you've worked with, man, that's pushed you to your limits, maybe?
Musically?
Yeah.
Or mentally? Yeah, there was a few. You know, the Toxic sessions years ago were pretty challenging because that was some high energy, pretty technical music, and there was some, you know, a lot of fast stuff, technical parts, odd times. And the record I did with Marty Friedman a number of years back, Tokyo Jukebox, that was extremely challenging because basically we just wrote it in the studio and we were just, you know, writing and jamming and doing everything under the sun while we were in the studio. So that just brought out a different thing because when you really don't know how the song goes, you can't really formulate a part to it. So by us just jamming and doing different stuff, we were able to come up with some killer stuff at the end, finished product.
Would you have liked to seen Stigmata get signed by Century Media at the time you guys were in talks with them, maybe?
Would you watch my feed the other day?
Research.
No, the answer is no. I didn't want us to get signed to Century Media. I wanted us to get signed to Warner Brothers because that's who was looking at us first. And that was looking pretty promising in '94, but, you know, you've heard all the stories 10 million times before. It fell through. But, yeah, I would have loved if we had gotten signed to Century Media in '94. I mean, I don't know what would have came of that. I know the band wouldn't have broken up. The reason why we started fragmenting is because we weren't getting anywhere. Mike, our main guitar player, main songwriter, moved away to New York City to start tattooing full time, and we pushed on as a 4-piece, but it just wasn't the same.
See, there you go, man. People think it's like, oh, we get signed and it's going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. No.
Now, if we signed, that's when the real work would have started.
Yes, sir.
And tell any band, you know, you do a lot of work to get signed, but you don't really work until you get signed, and then then the work really starts.
How important was your middle school music instructor for you at the time you were interested in playing drums, man? How crucial was that impact for you?
He was very important. My middle school instructor was, because he was a sax player, but he was also a drummer as well. And He always used to just let me take my free periods in the music room and go and play the drums. He'd always be showing me, new things if I wanted to learn it. And he was definitely very instrumental in pushing me on the path of becoming a more educated musician, so to speak, like with reading and stuff like that.
Do you see yourself still musically growing today from where it started? Can you never stop? I mean, I know you can add new techniques, but what do you do personally if it gets stale for you? What do you try to do?
I don't know. At this point, it's just trying to keep practicing new ideas, coming up with new ideas, seeing different techniques that I like, trying to make my playing easier for what I can already, with what I can already do. Taking the technique level to a different level. It's one thing to be able to play 200 BPMs, but it's another thing to be able to play it with ease and effort. So if anything, as I get older, I'm trying to look for ways to make things easier to play.
Can we see anything soon from Shadows Fall? Maybe. I mean, have you guys been in contact to do something?
Nope.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, I have contact every day almost with everybody. But everybody thinks that we don't talk to each other. We talk to each other all the time. We just we can't physically do it.
Yeah.
There's just things that don't make it an applicable situation right now. First of all, Brian lives in Missouri, so it's not like he's in Massachusetts with everybody else. Before, if he was in Massachusetts 2 hours away in Boston and I was 2 hours away in Albany, we would all convene in Western Mass, and it was a lot easier to do things. We can't do that nowadays, even for a one-off or whatnot. Anything that we've talked about with shows has been just for shows. There's no talk about let's go write another record, because it's going to be hard enough for us to actually get in a room and rehearse down 15, 16 songs that we haven't all played together in 5 years and get that together. Putting another record in the mix that's just not going to happen anytime soon. I don't think, I don't see that happening. We've had a lot of talks about playing shows and doing something, and we had two things booked this year. We had what would have been an amazing show with Iron Maiden in the Philippines in May of this year, but that kind of fell apart because COVID. And then we would have had another, we were going to do a local reunion thing in Massachusetts at the end of the year, and that's obviously not happening anymore either. So to answer the question in a roundabout way, the guys we're all active. We all talk to each other all the time. We still love each other. We want to play. We just don't know when we'll be able to do that.
It would have been awesome to see you guys finish out SummerSlam Festival in the Philippines, that you guys opened up the very first show for that, the very first festival.
I'm giving you the brief synopsis of that. I didn't know you know all the information behind it, so I can give you more information. That's exactly what it would have been. It would have been SummerSlam this year, and it was going to be Vernon's last year of doing it, which is why he wanted us to do it, because we did the first one. But like I said, there's no SummerSlam this year, so maybe next year or the year after, or whatever.
I gotta say, man, Destroyer of Senses, that song resonates with me so much. That if I say this about many songs, but especially this one too, if that doesn't make the hair stand up on your arms and your neck, there's something badly wrong with you.
If the video doesn't make you drunk just by watching it too.
Good stuff. What do you hope everyone takes away while attending your drum clinics via in-person or even online, Jason? What do you hope that they take away from it?
I hope they can take away the fact that anything that I play in front of them, if they practice it themselves, they'll be able to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't do anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not playing any kind of crazy chops that if you don't put the time in, you can't do yourself. So that's the biggest thing. I want people to go away knowing that regardless of what level you're at, you can always get better, and it just takes practice. Yeah,
and I hear so many people bitch and complain about, and I get it. It's frustrating because you see somebody else doing something, and they make it look simple. But if you put that time and effort in, man, you're going to have somebody else come along and look at you the same way and go, man, it looks easy.
And that's the thing. Every day I do these broadcasts on Twitch and stuff. I have these guys going, "Oh, dude, you make it look so easy." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't have any idea how much I'm huffing and puffing through this song." I'm holding on for dear life.
It's like Zakk Wylde isn't a great guitarist because he just picked it up one day and played for a couple hours. He plays hours upon hours upon hours.
Yes, he does.
for someone that is wanting to give up on drumming, is there anything easy you can suggest to them as a routine to start doing to progress more as a drummer? Just something simple to get them, to get the ball rolling, to keep them interested.
Yep. Get the book Stick Control by George Lawrence Stone and go down the first page every single day, especially concentrating on single stroke rolls, double stroke rolls, and your paradiddle patterns.
What made you want to become a musician, Jason? What was that spark for you that you could recall possibly that said, I want to try this?
Kiss. My dad bought Destroyer in '76 because he thought the album cover looked cool. He listened to probably 2 songs and realized this was not his cup of tea, and he gave it to me. And I immediately said, I want to be Gene Simmons. I didn't want to be Peter Criss. I want to be the guy that was spitting blood and breathing fire. So that was it. And it wasn't Kiss that made me want to play drums. It was Kiss that made me want to be in a band and made me want to be a musician. Because at that time, when I was a little kid, even though I know I wanted to play drums, I had a toy guitar and toy drum set. And I was farting around with both of them. So I just knew I wanted to do something. And then, once I got to school, I realized it was drums. But if I had to pick the first person who made me actually listen to drums and made me think about drummers was Keith Moon, because my dad was a huge Who fan. Mm-hmm. So that was probably the first guy that made me go, oh, drums are cool. This guy's going nuts.
Yeah.
And years later, it would turn out that, my biggest hero, which is Neil Peart, his biggest hero when he was a kid was Keith Moon. So. Yeah,
folks, if you've not seen Keith Moon, I suggest you to check him out because he's like Animal from the Muppets on the drum set. No kidding. He's like, he's all over the place.
Was.
Well, yeah, was. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's bad. Wow.
No, I said it was 2 first, and then I corrected myself.
Since almost everyone is in quarantine and some people is getting back out there from this stupid coronavirus, do you think concerts and festivals will have the same impact as before with sales and attendance, Jason, or do you think this has really hurt it, man?
Not right now. I think it's extremely hurt it. I think you're going to have your contingency of people that just want to go regardless and they don't care. I don't care if I get sick. Fine. You know what? I do care if I get sick. I care if the person in front of me makes me sick too. So there's definitely a better chance of me stepping on a stage than stepping out into a crowd.
Yeah. I saw this on your Twitter account, and I thought this was very, very awesome, and I want your thoughts on it. On July 14th, on your Twitter account, of course, this comment was from Carlito Buenaventura. It says, hi, Jason. Been listening to you guys a lot lately here in Manila. Your music has been a big help during times. It really helps me get by. I just wanted to say thanks. Stay safe. This album was Threads of Life from Shadows Fall. What goes through your mind, man, when you see people reaching out and telling you things like that it's affected their life?
It's great. I mean, I take it with the utmost value of respect. I think that's great. That's one of the things I said in my first Modern Drummer interview back in 1995 was if my music can put a smile on someone's face at the end of the day, then it makes it all worth it. And, if I had $1 for every time I've met someone, regardless of what band I was in, say, your music helps me get to this, and your music helped me get to this. If it wasn't for this album, I'd be dead. That's a wonderful thing to hear, knowing that your music was that impactful to save someone's life, So I love when I hear things like that. And to hear that from someone in the Philippines does not surprise me because Shadows Fall had a really, really great following down there.
Jason, I just like to say, as a fan of your music, whether it's with Shadows Fall or with Overkill, whatever project that you're doing, man, I support you. I know I'm just a little small fish in the sea, but doing this, but I still support you guys and absolutely love what you all do, man, and I love your drumming as well.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Any support helps, so it doesn't matter how small or large it is.
How can folks stay in touch with you, buy some drum clinics, books, whatever you got out there, any music, all that good stuff? How can they do that, good sir?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'd say right now the best way to get a hold of me is to go to my Twitch channel, www.twitch.tv/Jason Bittner. I'm there at least 3 times a week. You can interact, you can chat, all that kind of good stuff.
And before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Sure, you got it. Hey, what's up? This is Jason Bittner from Overkill, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We've got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link too, and we're all over the place on the platforms. Trust me. So support us. Get out, support Jason and Overkill and all the stuff he's done. Please check him out if you have not. You will not be disappointed. So, Jason, my man, stay safe and just take care of yourself, brother.
Thanks very much. You too. Be safe.